Hello, I'm Tatiana Antonelli, and welcome to Forward Talks by Goombook, a podcast about moving towards sustainability in our region and beyond. Did you know that, per data from the National Geographic back in 2019, nearly 4.5 trillion, yes, trillions, cigarette butts are disposed every year, and only an estimated third actually lands up in the trash? The common misconception is that cigarette filters are made of paper, but common cigarette filters are actually made from cellulose acetate, a plastic derivative that can actually take a decade to decompose, also leaving behind chemicals and plastic in the soil and in the oceans. I'm joined today by Monica Barton, who is Director of Communications at Philip Morris Middle East, to talk about the problem of cigarette butts and their campaign to reduce the problem of litter by 50% by 2025.
I'm really passionate about transformation, both from a sustainability point of view, an organisational point of view. There has to be, something that a company is wanting to do for the better. When Philip Morris came calling, I was hesitant. I think a lot of people have an opinion on Philip Morris, but after some lengthy conversations, I understood what Philip Morris is actually now about, and that is, shaking things up and changing the business model. And what that is replacing cigarettes for a science-based smoke-free product. And as a former smoker, I'm going to be transparent here. I think that was a very compelling reason to join, which is giving smokers another alternative. So, yeah.
Well, no, that's very interesting because, as you said, definitely the perception as consumers of the tobacco industries is totally different, and we don't understand also how change can happen and transformation can happen. So it's really nice to have you today to dig deeper into this. So my question would be, can a tobacco company be sustainable?
Yes, the simple answer is yes. Tobacco companies can be sustainable. For what a company makes, it's as important as how it makes it. That's why it's important that the impact of the positive and negative impacts created by our products is also taken into consideration. And we believe that we'll be more successful over the long run if companies are doing the opposite. At PMI, replacing cigarettes with better alternatives sits at the core of our strategy. And this also includes addressing sustainability challenges across our value chain and seizing opportunities to add value to society.
So, does PMI report on sustainability?
Yes, we do. In May this year, we actually released our second integrated report that details how our strategy, governance, performance and prospects lead to the creation of value over the short, medium and long term. It's structured around 4 pillars of our sustainability strategy: innovating for better products, operating with excellence, caring for the people we work with, and most importantly, protecting the environment. The report provides an update on our progress against our purpose and how we're addressing our most important sustainability materiality topics. Looking at the impact in general of what we do, we decided not to actually print the report this year. It's easily downloadable and accessible in the sustainability section of our PMI website if anyone wants to take a look.
Good that you don't print anymore. Many companies think it's a given and, why should I not print it? But actually, it does make a big difference.
Yes, if you think about how many copies have to be sent out around the world, it's quite good that companies aren't printing these big, lengthy documents anymore.
So going back to your campaign and the way you want to, change behavior within consumers, how is Philip Morris planning to raise awareness on the problem of littering?
There's one initiative that Philip Morris is doing that I'm really, really super excited about, and that is our World is Not an Ashtray campaign. It's a global initiative that Philip Morris has created to address a fundamental problem, which is cigarette butt littering. The campaign is designed to raise awareness to drive that long-term change in behaviour and also attitudes around cigarette butt littering. What it does is to encourage people to dispose of cigarette butts and also supports litter cleanups as well. One initiative that we do to support our World is Not an Ashtray is World Cleanup Day. We've done it here in the UAE just recently, where we had employees and our external partner help us to run a day of cleaning up one of the beaches here in Dubai. But I think, if we go back to our World is Not an Ashtray and why it's important, look, littering is an issue, and particularly as a corporate citizen and a responsible corporate citizen and manufacturer, we are stepping up our efforts to address this critical issue. And that's engaging with and educating the general public to help them understand the damage cigarette butt litter causes to the environment and wildlife, and why attitudes and behaviours need to change. All relevant stakeholders should join forces to fight littering. External partners provide additional expertise and insights in addressing this issue to optimise the impact of our World is Not an Ashtray campaign. But for those here in the Middle East, we've also launched our World is Not an Ashtray in Arabic.
Thank you. I mean, this is really interesting also because not many people understand the risk that cigarette butts pose to the environment.
Many smokers actually incorrectly believe that cigarette filters are made of cotton or paper, but in actual fact they're made of cellulose acetate, which is a type of bioplastic, and they can take up to 1 month to 15 years to disintegrate or decompose. So it's actually quite damaging to the environment. It's when you look at the construct of an actual butt.
This is so important because, as you shared earlier, you were, a smoker before. I was as well. I mean, I used to smoke, unfortunately, 2 packs a day.
Wow.
In my younger age. And I can remember going on holidays and, maybe sailing and smoking and throwing the butt in the sea. And, or I can still recall doing the same on the streets or, anywhere. And 20 years ago, no one had any idea. We all thought it was paper or some derivative of paper and cellulose. Now, with the awareness that comes with these campaigns, you realize what you're doing. So smoking is a choice. You can still, choose to smoke, but the fact that you're impacting the environment and the ecosystems around you, that's where we can definitely make a difference.
Look, I think, we just have to look at the facts or the stats. Every second, tens of thousands of cigarette butts are littered on the street, on the beach, in the gutter, thrown out of cars. What's quite shocking is if we don't act now, in 10 years' time, there could possibly be more cigarette butts in the ocean than fish. So this is a time for action now. If we don't look at how cigarette butts are disposed of properly, this is going to have a very huge environmental impact to our world's oceans.
So how can people get involved with Our World is Not an Ashtray campaign?
I think the best way for people to get involved is actually just joining local cleanup groups and supporting national and international campaigns, or just if you are a user of our products, to dispose of your litter properly. But if people want to find out more information, they can visit worldnoashtray.com and they can find out more about the platform that was developed by our global partner Literati, where they can find out more information to take simple actions to lead to real lasting change.
And how does this app work?
The app works in that if you find a piece of litter, take a picture of it, tag that type of litter, so in that sense of if they know what material it's made of, if there's a brand, and then that information is then put up against the profile. And what the Literati does is they've gamified this litter collection. So there are leaderboards, there's mini competitions. So it's really an engaging way for people to take part in this cleanup. Of course, most importantly, once they've found that litter, they should be disposing of it properly. If everyone's doing this, if we work together, really can make the world litter-free.
So is this something that your employees, for example, also take part in?
Yes. So in September, we have, for all our employees here in the Middle East, we encourage them to download the Literati app. And we have done our own internal competition where staff have been challenged to find as much litter as possible, and the top 3 employees win prizes for being the best cleaner-uppers.
So maybe this can be of inspiration to other companies to engage with their employees and create more awareness about litter. And how can you do the same with smokers? How do you encourage them to dispose of the cigarette butts properly?
With smokers or consumers of our products, changing that habit of littering requires action across 3 areas. It's awareness, it's having that disposable infrastructure, and as well having social enforcement. So for us, we're ready to work with authorities, anti-littering organisations and all other relevant stakeholders to achieve that impact. We're determined to fight the environmental damage caused by plastic and post-consumer waste from our products, particularly cigarette butts. We have been very open about our aim to achieve a 50% reduction of plastic litter from our products by 2025, and that's versus a 2021 baseline. We've got teams around the world who are organising litter cleanups. We've launched awareness campaigns. We've partnered with environmental NGOs and academics.
And is it possible, can you quantify the impact of the campaign?
Look, we're very transparent and we are measuring the impact of these campaigns. So to track progress against our goal, I want to mention a 50% reduction of the plastic litter from PMI products. We're working actually with 3 organisations, one being Literati, who we're working with on the app, Cortexia and Carto, and that's to implement a data-driven approach and assess the prevalence of cigarette butt litter across the globe, identifying litter hotspots and monitoring the impact of our anti-litter activities.
So this is incredible. I mean, there's lots of efforts behind this campaign, many players, different stakeholders. Can you foresee a cigarette-free future?
Oh, yes. Yes, I can foresee a cigarette future, and so can PMI. Look, we've been at it for 2 decades, working on bringing technology and science together to assess and more recently commercialise less harmful alternatives to cigarettes. And that is based on one bold ambition, which is we want cigarettes to be replaced by science-based smoke-free products as soon as possible to the benefit of people who smoke. So for those who care about them, like their family and friends, and society as a whole for the benefit of public health. What is fundamental is that we're disrupting our business model to achieve this ambition very, very quickly. Just so you know, in 2020, 76% of our commercial efforts and 99% of our R&D were dedicated to our smoke-free products. And to our knowledge, we believe that we're the only company ever to have proactively disrupted our own business in that quest for a better future for all. We aim to have at least 40 million current adult smokers having switched to our smoke-free products by 2025. Adding into those who quit tobacco and nicotine altogether, we estimate this would reduce the number of PMI cigarette smokers by a total of 55 million in that time frame. And we have the ambition to have less than 50% of PMI's net revenue to come from cigarettes by 2025.
So one could say that it is the responsibility of the smoker to put the butts in the bin. But what evidence do you have? Is there any research that can support your efforts to encourage smokers not to litter? Do your partners provide you with facts and results of these campaigns?
Look, PMI is very focused on insights, and for what we're doing on littering, we actually conducted a survey with Kantar, who's one of the world's leading data insights and consulting companies, in 2020 to have a little closer look at this area. What was found was the opportunity to improve education and awareness around cigarette butt littering. The survey identified a lack of understanding of the impact of cigarette butts on the environment. So many smokers incorrectly believed that cigarette butts or cigarette filters were made of cotton or paper. It also found that 25% of adult smokers reported that they throw cigarette butts on the ground because they think it's a normal way to dispose of a cigarette, which, let's face it, it's probably not. No. So when we asked the adult cigarette smokers what tobacco companies should be doing to reduce cigarette butt littering, more than half chose awareness building and education programs. So alongside tobacco companies increasing their efforts to prevent littering, smokers have also expressed their desire to take action, with 3 out of 4 saying smokers have a key role to play.
Okay, so this is really interesting when you say smokers have a key role to play. It's really nice to see how a very big entity such as Philip Morris is able then to, think about their consumers and giving them an opportunity to make a change as well.
We see sustainability as that opportunity for innovation growth and that long-term value creation for the company. It stands at the core of our transformation, and it's embedded into every part of our business, from how we source tobacco and the care of our workers to how we're reducing our environmental and social footprint. Again, in addition to the ways we're addressing post-consumer waste.
Well, thank you so much. This was very insightful and a lot to think about, and we hope to join you soon into all your cleanup initiatives. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you for listening. You may recall that I said that 4.5 trillion cigarettes are disposed each year. That means while you listen to this episode, approximately 166 million butts were thrown into the trash, out of cars, in the oceans, or just on the streets. I would like to thank Philip Morris Middle East and Monica for coming on board today and powering this episode of Forward Talks by Goombook. I'm Tatiana Antonelli, and this episode was produced by Shira Desai. You can find our previous episode in podcast players or at goombook.com/podcast. And you can always connect with us on Instagram, of course, at Goombook. That's GOUMBOOK. Thank you and see you again soon.